week 4 of just Super Rugby, I guess, with the Australian competition also starting up. So I'm just gonna throw everything together and call it Super Rugby again. This week we have 4 matches, 3 of which is covered in this video. The Sunday game, unfortunately, is going to be in a separate video because I can only make that video while the other games are already being played and all that type of stuff. So that's going to be difficult. 3 games in this video. The last game is going to be in tomorrow's video. The games that we'll see, the time slots they are in is next to me if you want to check that out. And I'll also put the timestamps here at the bottom if there is space, or just scroll here at the bottom if you want to skip ahead to the specific game that you want to watch. The standings so far for the New Zealand competition: the Blues are at the top. Who would have expected that? Then the Crusaders, the Highlanders, the Chiefs and the Hurricanes. Next week the Australian competition will be there as well. The first game up for this week, it is the Reds versus the Waratahs, and we'll see what's gonna happen in this competition. This game could be a trend setter for the whole tournament. If you don't know who to call or who to predict and who to support, actually, you can check out this video that I made. Everything that you need to know about this competition, the new rules, all the big players, all that type of stuff. The venue for this game is the Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. It's clear skies and 19 degrees Celsius, not too much wind, so we can see a great game here. Nick Berry, he's also a good referee, and the Reds were in good form just before the break. The Waratahs, they looked a little bit off pace. Completely different side to the one in previous years because they lost a lot of big names in before this year. Actually, the Waratahs, they've won the last 11 games that they've played against the Reds. The Waratahs season before this, like I said, wasn't good. Only 1 out of 6 games that they won. The Reds 2 out of 7, so not much better. They did demolish the Sunwolves in that one game, and then they lost to the Crusaders by 4 points, so they were close in a couple of occasions. As shown next to me, the history is definitely in favour of the Waratahs, but they've lost a couple of big names since last time they played in this year as well, including Kurtley Beale, who also left the side now to take up his contract in France, so that's a pretty big one for them. The bookies are backing the Reds to win by 7 points. Looking at the changes for this side since the last time they played, the red is just the changes in the side. The Waratahs may look like they made less changes, but believe me, it is big changes to their side. The Waratahs are missing their Wallabies. Hunt, Gordon and Robertson are all injured, and along with Foketi, so there's a couple of new guys in the side, along with Beale, who also moved on from the side. So there's 5 debutants in the side, with 2 of them starting this game. Will Harris is one of them at number 8 and Walton at number 12. At least there's a bit of star power for the Waratahs in the front pack, with Harry Johnson-Holmes, who is a Wallaby as well. Hannigan, a Wallaby for them in the lock. Simmons as well, so their locking partnership is pretty good. Hooper, everyone knows him. He's a great tackler, great guy all over the park, great at breakdown. So they have experience there in their front pack. The back line just might be an issue. The Reds, they are strong up front as well. Tupou is there. Blythe, who was pretty good in the season just before the lockdown. He's very good at getting into the mauls and breaking that down, getting his hands on the ball. Salakai Loto, great playing with the ball. He's a good runner with the ball. Wright also, and Wilson, remember him, the 20-year-old who just runs over everyone, makes a lot of tackles. He just puts his body on the line every game. Then also McWright, who gets his first start for the side, and they are hinting that he's the next David Pocock for the Wallabies, so probably big shoes to fill for him. So for me, the scrums, lineouts and breakdown could be pretty even in this game. Getting to the back line, the Waratahs number 10, Will Harrison, not to be confused with the number 8, Will Harris, or the Reds number 8, Harry Wilson. He's been pretty good as well, actually pretty great. He's pushing to become a Wallaby. He's been good in difficult situations as well, good with his boot, finding space as well. He's playing against James O'Connor, who is a lot more experienced than him, who would want to get the upper hand between these two, especially with Tate McDermott on his inside, who was great in the season before the lockdown, and yeah, he just scores tries as well. Daigunu, he takes over from Spate, who also took a contract in France, and up against Ram, while Nawakwanita Wase wants to continue his form that he had for the Waratahs before the lockdown. He's up against Campbell, who is also the kicker for the side. The Reds, they're kicking... It's not the greatest, but yeah. Look out for Paisami at number 13 for the Reds. He's probably one of the finds of the season for the Reds, and he's a strong runner with the ball and difficult to take down. Another guy to look out for is Maddox at number 15 for the Waratahs. As I said, Beale is out, so Maddox is kind of taking over from him. Maddox is an international as well, so good guy to bring into your side. Both benches are very different from the ones we saw in the regular seasons. The Waratahs have 3 more debutants on the bench as well, joined by Staniforth and the movable Dempsey and the league convert Morua. The Reds front row substitutions pack a little bit more punch for me, with Murphy and JP Smith coming on. Tualima joins them as the newbie in the side as a lock, because they've had a couple of guys leaving them. The Samoan international Molalua is in for them as well. And then the strong running Faiaway Satia is there as well. With the forwards probably being pretty similar for both sides, it'll be the backs that change the game. And in this one, the Reds probably have the better backline and the more settled pack in general. The conversions might be a bit of an issue for them, but I still expect them to win by at least 10 points. The first New Zealand game we see this weekend is the big South Island derby between the Highlanders and the Crusaders. They are playing in the Forsyth Bar Stadium. Light rain is expected. Don't let that deter you. They are going to still run the ball. And Mike Fraser is the referee for this one. Though the Crusaders are... Let's face it, the Crusaders, the Highlanders have been in good form. They won in the first week, a miracle victory there. And then they punched above their weight last week by just losing with 3 points against the Blues. Every bit of history is in the Crusaders' favour though. But these two sides do turn it up for this game. The Crusaders have also won the last 7 out of 8 games that these two sides have played. And the last 3 games that these two sides played has an average margin of 24 points in the favour of the Crusaders. Bookies have the Crusaders to win by 11 points, but let's look at the sides a little bit closer. If you look at the teams, it is clear that the Highlanders are expecting a big battle in the front pack with a whole new front row from their side, but the Crusaders just still have the upper hand with a complete all-black front row. In the locks, both Paripari Parkinson and Dixon were good last week. I think one of them made my dream team for last week, if you want to check that out. As well as Whitelock, he was good as well. And Dunshire, he's still finding his form. He's a good player, but he's not as great as he was just before the lockdown. The Crusaders have a couple of changes in their loose forwards, with Grace having a long-term injury. Unfortunately, I love seeing him play. So Blackadder is in, who is a good player. Then another guy in for them is Christie, who is a tackling machine and just a threat at the ruck all the time. And it will be tough battle for them because they are going up against Frizzell and Hunt, who also one of them made my dream team. And don't forget the strong runner Makele Tu'u at the number 8, who is going up against Douglas. The backline for the Crusaders, they made a couple of changes. Hall is rested for Drummond coming in, who hasn't been bad coming off the bench in this couple of games. Mohunga continues, who has been impressive in each and every game he has played now. Those two are up against Aaron Smith, who's been very influential on the park, and Hunt, who will just want to perform against his previous team and show what he can do against Mohunga. Tompkinson was good last week. I think he also made my dream team. But he is up against Goodyear, who is an all-black centre and just a great tackler. It's difficult to break his line. Eno just always makes tries for the guys on the outside. And then Will Jordan, he was shifted from 15 to the wing. He was great last week on 15. But Havili comes in, who is their vice-captain. And then Fainga Anuku is on the left wing. I hope we can see a little bit more of him because we haven't seen exactly what his potential is. The Highlanders back three hasn't been great this season. They've shuffled in every single game previous to the lockdown and now. But Michael Collins comes in, so it might be a little bit more settled for them, or a little bit better, because he is probably their form number 15 or their first choice number 15. On the benches, the starting front row for the Highlanders of last week is there. Then Gatland, it's the first time he is actually listed in the squad. The previous 2 times he has played wasn't actually official because he was a late substitution into the side. Then the Crusaders, their bench looks weaker on the surface, but you have to look at each one of these players, especially at Makaleo, Strange and Avili. They pack a huge punch. And then remember, Sevu Reece is there as well, who just loves scoring his tries. The Crusaders team looks stronger. The scrums, especially lineouts, may be a little bit more equal. The danger to me is the Crusaders back three is just on another level to the Highlanders, especially if they start running this ball. Though I expect the Highlanders to have their best foot forward, I do think the Crusaders will still win this one by 12 points. The last game in this video, the Brumbies versus the Rebels. It's also the second Australian game in their Super Rugby. They're playing in the GIO Stadium in Canberra. Clear skies, pretty cold actually. And Angus Gardner is the referee. Great referee to have in your first game. The Brumbies were top of the conference before lockdown, and the history favors the Brumbies a little bit, but the Rebels have been more successful in their last 10 head-to-head fixtures. The Rebels have also won 4 out of the last 5 games these two teams have played. The last one they did play, though, they lost in this year, February 2020. And that was a big margin, 39-26. The bookies are saying the Brumbies by 9 points. But looking at the teams, both teams have a couple of changes since the last time they played. Not as drastic as the Reds and the Waratahs, who lost quite a number of players for a number of reasons. The Brumbies have their Wallaby front row, who has a clear upper hand over the Rebels. But don't discard Ulysses, who is a Wallaby as well. I am surprised by the signing of Stolberg. I didn't even know they did sign him. He was great for the Sunwolves in a losing outfit. So he joins with Philip, who is just as good. So that might be a good sign for the Rebels in a line-out time. They face Swain and Douglas, who's probably going to be tough competition at line-out time. The loose forwards, the Brumbies probably have the better combo with Valentini, the strong tackler in the side, the breakdown machine, Cusack, and then the strong ball carrier / try scorer, Pete Samu in the side. They are up against a loose forward pack where the only guy that really stands out is Michael Wells. The other guys, they are good, but not on an international quality good. The back line is where the Rebels flex their muscles with 4 internationally known Wallabies, or well-known Wallabies. Lawrence, he was impressive before the lockdown, joining up with the vice-captain Tumua. They are up against Powell and Lolesio, who likes taking on the line and is pushing for a Wallaby spot as well. I think he's 20 years old. Pretty good for me. I do like seeing him play. The centre battle is going to be a good one as well, with the 2 Wallabies going up against each other, Kuridrani and Hodge. Then the Rebels also have Dane Haylett-Petty at the fullback, Kurebeti on the left wing, and then one of the competition's top try scorers before the whole break, Kellaway on the right wing. On the benches, the Rebels have another Sunwolves player, Ma'afu is there. Ainsley is playing his last season with the team before going to the Highlanders next season. And then the Fijian international is a good guy to bring onto the park. The Brumbies have their Wallaby prop Scott Seo on the bench, and another great player, or another great loose forward in their side, Will Miller, to bring on. To sum up, the Brumbies have the stronger front pack. You can see it clearly. With Mauls, they're probably going to do well there with Folau Fahinga, who loves scoring tries. But Stolberg coming in, they might disrupt it a little bit at line-out time. The Brumbies also have the dominant scrum. Yes, the back line of the Brumbies looks a little bit better than it did, but the Rebels just have a massive pack, or a massive back line. They have clear skies, so it is the perfect conditions for running rugby, but I still think the Brumbies do have the upper hand to win by 7 points. Guys, let me know your predictions for this games down in the comments below. Let me know the one that you are most excited for. If you want to check out any of these other videos next to me, please do so. And then I'll see you for the next one. Cheers.